Good to go.
Yo, welcome back to the Out of the Box Show. I'm John Wass alongside my co-host James Luffy and Rory Luke, and we are sitting up a little bit more upright in our chairs today. Our smiles are a little bit larger. Our overall mood is a little bit better. LSU baseball is back and with a bang. We have an absolutely packed show for you guys. We are going to break down LSU's shellacking of the Maine baseball Black Bears over the weekend. Complete overreaction show coming your way for the 51-run Tigers. Couldn't be more excited. We're going to look ahead to LSU's midweek games. We're going to talk about whether they matter or not. Maybe mention a little LSU men's basketball, but probably talk more about the women's basketball team than the men's. So lots to get to on this episode of the Out the Box Show. But before we get to all that, I want to give a huge shout out to the Boot Crew Media Network. Our Out the Box beat writer and reporter, Mr. Chris Calderera, posted an article yesterday. You can find it on bootcrewmedia.com, chronicling in writing LSU baseball's shellacking of Maine. Great article, and it was eloquently written. It puts it in a different perspective. We just get up here and blab on a podcast and yell into a mic. If you want a more refined take on the LSU baseball team and their weekend, head on over to bootcrewmedia.com. Make sure to check it out and also to follow them on social media at bootcrewmedia. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to Blaine Loop with Keller Williams Realty. Your weekend recaps for LSU baseball are going to be brought to you by Blaine Loop. He wants you to know that he wants to be your friend, your neighbor, and your agent. He wants you to know that you can call or text him at any time at 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. Blaine is the man, I promise you. I know from experience and from testimonials from other loyal Out the Box listeners. Call or text Blaine Loop at 504-858-0031. All right, fellas, we're back. The thing that started this all, the thing that we and LSU does best, college baseball at the box. I, like we mentioned last week, was able to make it out to the box. I know you guys were very upset that you weren't able to make it, but the sun set in the western sky. It found its home, and all's right with the world. LSU baseball is officially back for the year.
How was it out there, John?
It was fantastic. I froze my ass off at Alex Box many a time, and I was actually prepared this time. I wore wool socks. I wore long johns, like actual old, like they were like my dad's long johns from whenever he was my age. Like that's how they don't make them like they used to, right? They were nice cotton, all white. You couldn't see them though, and I wore some layers on my torso, but. Overall, the atmosphere was great. 11,000 plus back in the box. Everybody was hyped up. The Mr. Pibb was back. Thank you so much for that, Rory. I got a Pibb and hot nuts. Like Bill Franquez said when he came on the show, the food options were phenomenal. It looks like they completely revamped the concession stands. And I did talk to Michael Corciani over at Fat Boys Pizza, and they are serving Fat Boys Pizza, I believe, in left field. So major upgrades to the food. Yes. Power moves being made by Fat Boys Pizza. We love Fat Boys Pizza. But the atmosphere, I mean, you could say it, you could paint it every which way, but the atmosphere was fantastic. The fans were loud, even though it was cold. We're going to get into it. Game one, Blake Money came out. He is as advertised. He looks like a European model. He is slimmed up, and he looked phenomenal on the mound. It took a little while for the bats to get rolling, but once they did, it was an absolute shellacking.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should also talk about Gabe Beloso going out before the game, getting hurt, freak injury. That sucks for him because, I mean, he's been here forever, and he's one of the leaders on the team, and it kind of sucks that he doesn't get to go out there, and we don't know how serious that injury is, but I think it's pretty serious.
Yeah, they're kind of keeping it under wraps, but, I mean, he was in a full brace, I think, on Sunday, like no movement at all, which Doesn't bode well. Hopefully, no surgery, but I mean, I guess we'll see. Just like a freak accident too in the huddle before the game. But I tell you what, his replacement looked pretty good.
Yeah. And the first thing I thought was, so, I mean, literally, I think Beloso, I don't have the lineup pulled up, but I think he was batting fourth, right? And we're sitting
Or
there.
fifth. He was fifth. He was fifth.
Yeah. He batted fifth. And we were just getting settled in our seats, after the anthem, and Coach Paul Maneri threw out the first pitch, which, by the way, strike right down the middle. And by that, I mean, it doesn't look like he's thrown a baseball since he took off his LSU jersey. I guess all those years of BP. I think he just let his arm rest. But other than that, at first I thought whenever, you hear Bill Franques come over the microphone and he says, all right, now pinch hitting for Cade Beloso is Brayden Jobert. And you're like, okay, your first thought is, okay, did we curse Beloso? Did he get hurt? Is he in the bathroom? Is this gamesmanship by Coach Jay Johnson? Is he sneaky saying, okay, Beloso is going to start and we're going to put that in the lineup card and then we're going to make all kind of moves before the game even really gets going? But all that to say, Brayden Jobert is advertised, and if anybody ever came in as a freshman and earned a spot in this lineup, he will be on the field in some capacity.
Yeah, I mean, he really hit everything he looked at this weekend.
Yeah, and he is a JUCO guy. He's a redshirt sophomore. He's from Delgado. He actually started at Nichols, went to Delgado, and is now at LSU, which is sounds like a crazy journey to start yourself off at Delgado, but happy for him. I mean, Slidell kid went to North Shore High and hit the absolute piss out of the ball. 6 hits, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs on the weekend. Literally is almost the same as what K. Doty did. I mean, K. Doty won SEC Player of the Week.
And Rory, he hit a home run at Nichols against LSU.
I did not know that.
Yeah, fun fact.
Well, it's always interesting to see these guys come to LSU, and you wonder, and not to take anything away from Nichols or Delgado, but they're not LSU, right? So
No.
You always just wonder what turned on for these players. How did this guy get missed along the way? Because, I mean, he came in his first game as a Tiger. I think I said he was a freshman. That was obviously a mistake. But first game as a Tiger, scores the first run of the season, I believe, on a solo dinger. So
yes, solo dinger to right center field.
Yes,
and it was pretty much a line drive out there. It got out there quick. And it really, you get to those. He was what you get through those first 4 batters and nobody gets on, and you're like, dang, what's up? Why these are Murder's Row right now. Why aren't these guys hitting? You get Brayden Jobert come in, hit a bomb, and then we're in business. Everybody had to shake off the rust a little bit, get somebody going, and right guy, right time, and he just let off a crazy weekend of runs.
Yeah, he did. And to go back to Money for a second, 7 innings pitched, controlled the game, really, only gave up 2 hits, and he had that swagger. And, I mean, it was Maine. They didn't play baseball outside until they got to Baton Rouge. They have not played baseball outside since last year. And they honestly, they were really bad. Not to be too mean in Maine, but, they were terrible. It's hard to judge off that, but it was good to see Money get off to a good start, throwing strikes, which is what he struggled with whenever he was kind of pulled out of that lineup at the end of last year.
Yeah, and the stuff was there too. John had concerns about you lose a little of the bulk. Do you keep the fastball? Do you keep the velo? And he had the velo. I mean, he was at 95. Throughout the start. I mean, it kind of wavered off a little bit towards the end, but that's every pitcher. You go 7 innings. But, 10 strikeouts, 1 walk. That's what really stands out to me. Again, like you said, it's Maine. Maybe you can fill up the zone against Maine. But to still understand your opponent and go after them and pitches in the strike zone, you probably have stuff that they can't really hit, but he still attacked and pitched really well. And I think that was maybe the most promising thing that we saw all weekend was Blake Money on Friday night.
Yeah, and the ability to come in and go that deep into the game. I kept looking up at the pitch count, and I'm like, he's getting guys out. He's moving through the lineup, and that's the whole point of your Friday night guy, right? It is to take the stress off of your weekend rotation, go deep into that Friday night game, and have control the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, in the Palmineri era, I don't think a pitcher ever went 7 innings in their first start. So it was a little different. I mean, a lot of times you'd see guys go in 3 or 4, even though they kind of knew they were going to they had an ace in whoever it was, but they left him out there. And I mean, he was super, super efficient. So they were able to, but hopefully can keep that up. I mean, the pitching staff as a whole, they talked about all offseason wanting to throw strikes. We had 8 walks this weekend, and 4 of them came from one player, Trey Schaefer, who had a rough outing. But other than that, I mean, pretty much everyone else was in control.
Yeah, and Trey Schaefer's I'm almost positive that's a Southeastern transfer guy, and he's a guy who's like got the stuff, but he is a little erratic with it. He didn't pitch very well at Southeastern. I think he's more of like a projection. They think he can come in and maybe be something in the future, more of like a project. But I mean, it was really impressive pitching wise. Like throughout the whole staff, I think the only person that you kind of had a little problem with was Mikhail.
Mm-hmm.
Mikhail just wasn't hitting his spots. It was just one of those games he was not on.
He has those games. He's had those games kind of throughout his career at LSU. So I don't really think that's like an overreaction thing. I think he maybe ends up as the Sunday guy throughout the year. But he has off games. And, I mean, luckily we have the bats to back it up.
And he's also been a guy that needs, like, we saw it last year, like, he kind of needs to get into a rhythm. And I think he'll only get better as the year goes on, as he gets into the rhythm of pitching real games, pitching that every weekend, whether it's Saturday or Sunday. But Javin Coley came in and allowed 1 run, 1 hit, pitched 3 innings with 3 strikeouts, had a pretty good outing. And he's going to be key because he's going to be that, vying for a starter guy or a long relief if somebody's down. And an important lefty, he matters. He's going to play, a big role on this team, and it was nice to see him come out and get Mikhail out of that spot.
Yeah, and to talk about Sunday, Ty Floyd, he came in and pretty much just threw fastballs past these guys for the most part. He looked more in control. We talked about that, but with him going forward, I just think that he's going to have to throw another pitch because in the SEC, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, they're going to hit that. I mean, they're going to hit the fastball eventually. So it'll be interesting to see whether Ty Floyd stays in a starting role.
Yeah, and not to like take away from anything, and we'll we can kind of talk about how whether it would be an overreaction to say that we scored 51 runs against Maine. You have both sides of the coin, right? You have Maine, who came in Friday night and had 6 errors, and we ended up beating them 13-1. Saturday, we scored from Friday to Saturday. I read this in Bill Frank-Az's recap. We scored 12 innings in a row consecutively. Yep. So from the 5th to the the 7th. I can't do math really well, but all in all, I think against anybody, the two things that stand out to me is if you score 51 runs in a weekend, that's still impressive. That's impressive regardless of who you play. Now, are we going to be able to do that against the Texases, the Mississippi State, and whatever? Probably not, but I'd much rather do that than not. And last year, I think LSU fans kind of, and I was guilty of it too, the first few series of the year last year, if y'all remember, Dylan Cruz was hitting cruise missile left, cruise missile right. Trey Morgan was whacking the ball. Doty. There were signs of gorilla ball, but this year feels like it is the next level of gorilla ball. It is like it's scary to think about. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I did say at the beginning that it was going to be a little bit of an overreaction, but to have this deep of a hitting lineup, you had to Giacomo hit a home run, right? That doesn't happen. So Jay Johnson's putting the pressure on these guys to vie for spots. Everybody's competing. The competition is there, and it is a fantastic problem to have, especially when your pitching staff is still being established.
Yeah, and you have a guy as good as Dugas who's like in and out of the lineup. So that's just
He's
we're
batting
deeper than
seventh.
last year. We're deeper than last year at the
Seventh
plate.
on Friday night, and he was one of our best hitters last year, and he's been a phenomenal player since he's been at LSU, and he's batting seventh, and we're not even talking about him.
I mean, we went. I want to say I saw this as well, and I think I remember it. We had a moment where all 9 guys in the lineup got a hit in 1 inning. I'm almost positive. I think that's right. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, they batted it around, and everybody got on, which is insane. Like that is insane to think that we have come from where we had 3, maybe 4, pretty much automatic outs, to where if you take Milazzo out the lineup, you don't have an automatic out to see. And we can talk about Milazzo. I mean, I think he probably needs to be out of the lineup. But I want to talk about this guy who's probably, as of right now, I think I'm attaching it, is going to be my favorite player, and that's Eric Reiselman. That dude throws gas. I think he was up to like 97, touching 99 a little bit. Just absolutely shut down those last 2 innings on Sunday. I mean, it was a no-pressure situation. It wasn't a save, but the guy throws hard, and he is electric. I'm excited to see that man. He also liked our tweet, so.
It was pretty funny to see the main batters like reaction. Like they were like, I don't even want to be here. Whenever the first guy saw that fastball, he goes, I'm gonna swing at everything. I'm just gonna swing.
No, they had they were just like, you watch that pitching ninja video, and they are just swinging like
the ball already
have
hit,
no
hit the
clue.
glove. Yeah, the ball's already hit the glove, and they're like swinging. They're like, I just want to get out of here. Like I want to go on this long ass flight home to Maine. Like that's. Whenever he came in throwing 99, 98, they were just like, all right, this is it. Let's pack it up.
Yeah. I mean, how could you not be? I felt so bad for that.
I felt the first pitcher on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Six doubles in an inning. His ERA will never recover. Like for the rest of the year, right? I mean, is it even possible to get it back down?
I don't know, man. I felt bad for him.
Me too.
Love to see LSU, but God.
The coach just left him out there too. I don't know if they didn't have anybody else.
They probably just didn't have anybody.
He was like looking over the dugout, like, please take me out, and they just left him in. So,
I mean, that's one of those. I'm surprised. I don't know what the rule is on run rules anymore, but why was this game not called? Right, like way early on. I mean, don't they have a rule? These guys got to get all the way back up to Maine. They got to board a flight. It's like 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon, and they probably have a 4-hour flight back up to Maine where they have to go back to their freezing ass cold weather. Like you'd think they would have called that and thrown in the towel a little bit earlier.
They should just be able to forfeit after a certain inning if the coach is like, all right, that's enough.
It was bad. It was bad. It got to the point where it's like, I'm convinced that that Maine team was bad, but I'm convinced you could have taken all 9 starters we had, put a completely different 9 in, and we still beat them very handily.
Well, what's crazy is that you can do that. You could probably do that against obviously a team that is better than Maine, right? Like the depth is there, but I get what you're saying. Like we the fact of the matter is Maine's a little unranked team that is exactly what we get every year coming in for the first few non-conference series of the year, and it's great to get the wheels turning, knock the rust off before the SEC play coming up. And I don't think there's much more. I don't think there's much more that, like, there's obviously stuff to improve. There's stuff to work on and whatnot, but the foundation's there.
Yeah, and I think everybody got to play too, which is good. I mean, I think everybody who was healthy had an at bat.
Except Milazzo.
Yeah, well, everyone who was healthy. But I mean, that really stinks for him. I feel bad for him. John cursed him, unfortunately.
I don't think I cursed him. I just think he is known as the senior leader hype man, and I think if there was any way for him to go down, it was hyping the team up. And I also believe that he'll be back at some point. I think he's too tough of a guy not to come back.
I hope he comes back because I mean, obviously I want to see Cade and I want to see him do well, but I want to see Trey Morgan in center field. I do. I want to see him out in the outfield. I want to see what he's got out there. I'm interested by that.
Can we talk a little bit? I just want to briefly touch on how each year we give, like, the week before the season starts, we give our predictions of who we think is going to start where, and how kind of the first lineup is going to look. Did y'all think we were a touch off with Safford starting at second? Obviously, that's just, I feel like that's kind of a nod.
He did start one game at second.
Yeah, he started Friday. Yeah, that's what I think.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
saying.
Okay. What I'm saying is, whenever you first look at the Friday night lineup, I mean, obviously you had your top five in there. We weren't really sure whether Milazzo was gonna get the DH nod and whatnot. The two surprises were Safford at second and Milazzo at catcher. I feel like that's just kind of a nod to the older, more experienced guys. I mean, after seeing McManus play as opposed to Milazzo at the position, what you get with Milazzo, right? You know kind of what you're getting, and when you say that, you have to mention his rocket behind the plate. But when you need to score runs, which I don't think we'll have an absence of at all this year, I'm just saying if a game's tight, you can use that to your advantage, and you can say, okay, do we need a guy that can gun somebody out in second, or do we need a guy that can hit the baseball? So, but I do think this will end up getting the spot.
Yeah, Milazzo did a better job this weekend. I mean, it was against Maine, but like there was times last year when he needed to like put the ball in play and score a run, and he couldn't do it. And he had a couple of RBIs this weekend. So
yeah, he had a little infield dribbler, and I believe it was it scored a run. So he did get the job done.
I think if he can do that and work some walks, I think that's what you're going to get out of him.
Yep.
But I personally just don't think I'm of the group that defense in college baseball obviously matters, but does a catcher's defense really matter? I don't think so. Like, it's not an MLB where you get the pitch framing and stuff like that. I don't think pitch framing really matters at the college level because umpires are a little looser and we just don't get those metrics as much. But I think McManus should be the starter going forward. I think it's just more important to have that bat back there. When you see those SEC teams and stuff like that, you're going to need that bat. And, if a couple guys steal on us, they steal on us. And that's okay, but hopefully he can make up for that in the run department. And also my thinking of it is if Milazzo was the second coming of, like Yadier Molina back there where nobody could steal, yeah, okay, yes. If he was like, an A++ defender, but he's really not. He's like A- defender, an A defender, whereas McManus might be, I mean, we don't really know right now, but he could be like a C+ or a B defender. But I think the hitting just matters more right now. But I mean, we'll see.
I always think about their knees. So if you have McManus start Friday, Saturday, and whatnot, you can have Milazzo to come in, give a little relief. That is the biggest thing, is that he can be a serviceable relief catcher. We have two guys that can play catcher and one that can hit better than the other, but to have options.
I agree, but like you start Milazzo the Friday night when you have money going, so you have your ace. So you don't need as many runs. You don't need as much production typically on the Friday night. So you start Milazzo Friday night, McManus Saturday, Sunday. I think that's perfectly fine. I think that's what we'll probably see going forward, unless one of like McManus or Milazzo really rears its head and says like, "This is my job." So
it's nice to have options, but
it is.
Luffy, is there any option for who you would choose if you wanted, say, like a roll-off dumpster or a portable restroom or something of that nature?
I would call our boy at Workbox, Martin Patial, at 225-343-4886 if you need a storage container, portable office, portable restroom rental, roll-off dumpster, cleanest porta potties in the business. Call Martin at Workbox at 225-343-4886.
All right, so next up tonight, as you're listening to this, we're going to try to get this out early in the morning. Heading up to Ruston to face Louisiana Tech, the number 15 rank, I believe. Louisiana Tech just coming off a sweep of Wichita State. What is it, the Shockers?
Yes.
Shockers. Coming off a sweep of the Wichita State Shockers. Rory, I know you've done extensive research on the Louisiana Tech lineup, and while you're getting your thoughts together, I do want to mention that I think there is some weather moving into the Ruston area tomorrow night, so be on the lookout for either a delay or a postponement or a cancellation.
This is crazy right now. I'm looking at the line for tomorrow's baseball game. It almost like makes me like giddy, like a little kid. Like I'm looking at the LSU Louisiana Tech baseball line.
All right, so
how crazy is that?
What is it?
So it's Louisiana Tech plus 135, LSU minus 165, which I think is fair. I do think that's fair.
Is there a run line?
There's no run line right now, but there is an over-under, which I think might be the play if we've seen anything this weekend. Over-under is 14.5.
Ooh.
Wow. That's interesting.
I think we might be slamming that over.
That's interesting because generally, everyone's bet on MLB here and there in the dog days of summer, and you will never see an MLB line over/under set at 14.5. Obviously, due to the better pitching and the wooden bat situation. But I'm just saying that. But when you really think about it, after watching LSU score 51 runs, LSU could score 14.5 by themselves tomorrow or tonight.
Also, I'm probably going to stay away from this now because I want to see, one, who's starting, and two, how is LSU going to respond, in the midweek games? We know how Maneri was. If we had Maneri coaching this weekend,
didn't matter.
Give me the plus money with Louisiana Tech. I'm taking them in the midweek game. But with Jay Johnson, I want to see how we perform in the midweek. Can we bring that weekend over to the midweek?
I don't see Jay Johnson slowing down. I don't see him taking his foot off the gas. I don't see him treating this game any differently. Not to say, Paul Maneri did that or anything, but I see Jay Johnson as all gas, no brakes.
He said today was the most important game of the year.
Tomorrow night or tonight?
Yep, tonight. And he talked about.
Of course it is.
And he talked about their RPI and all this other stuff.
Oh, all right. We might be back in the Tigers on this.
Yeah.
One.
All right.
Let's. John, you were talking about Louisiana Tech. Give you some info on them. Louisiana Tech last year, I don't know if you remember, top 16 seed hosted a regional. They did lose to NC State, who ended up going to the College World Series. But it's still a good team. They're strong up the middle. They have a shortstop who was last year's Defensive Player of the Year. Started all 62 games, made just 2 errors last year. So they're solid up the middle. Got a solid center fielder, Cole McConnell, the best prospect. He was, I think he's like a top 100, maybe a top 50 guy in the MLB prospect. So they got it's a solid team, and you can see it in their rankings. They're what you say 15th in the nation. They're a very solid team. You're going to Louisiana Tech. They call it the Love Shack over there. It's a new stadium, and the place is going to be rocking. Anytime LSU comes, the place is going to be rocking. People show up and show out. So it's going to be a good game. Like you said, or like Luffy said with the Jay Johnson stuff, I think I'm leaning LSU money line, and maybe a sprinkle on the over. I don't know. We'll see.
Is that your pick for House Always Wins, Rory?
That is not my pick for House Always Wins. I have another pick, but you can't have too many picks in one night.
Yeah,
you can't have too many plays.
So I am pulling up the forecast up in Ruston, Louisiana. Considerable cloudiness with occasional rain showers, thunder possible. Chance of rain is 50%. Looks like it's going to be some thunderstorms. High of 47, low of 38, though. Not really a fan of that, but I like LSU traveling early on in the year. Ruston is not a stone's throw away, so that'll be good for the young guys and the older guys and Jay Johnson to get on the road early on.
And there has been a lot of these guys. Jay Johnson really hasn't coached at LSU, but a lot of the players on this team are experienced guys. We don't have really, besides Brayden, these are all guys that played last year. Jacob Berry went to the College World Series, and everybody else played in a regional at Oregon and you had to play a win it all game at Oregon, and you play a super regional at Tennessee, which is a rocking crowd. So I think, a little bit of juice behind the crowd isn't going to be a bad thing. Also, half the people in Ruston are probably LSU fans. They'll probably be rooting for LSU.
Yes. So looking forward to that. LSU this weekend is going to be back at the Box. Am I reading this rightly? Right. Not rightly. Right. Is this a 4-game series? LSU is playing Towson on Friday night. Then on Saturday, they're playing the Southern Jaguars. And then Sunday, it looks like they have a scheduled doubleheader. Not really familiar with that. We're then play Towson at noon and then Southern at 5 p.m. That is a little unusual. A 4-game weekend series, obviously. Southern is in Baton Rouge, so you don't have to worry about getting back on a plane or on a bus or whatnot. But I think,
and I think we saw this last year, maybe with a team in Nicholls State. I think I remember I saw we had maybe a 4-game. We either had a 3-game weekend and Nicholls State had a 4-game or something like that. I think it's more get these early games in. Southern, they don't have to travel at all, and Towson, get them in and allow them to play 4 games against some quality competition or 3 games against some quality competition. And, the more the merrier. I would love to see a 4th guy start. So, I think it can't hurt.
Yes, that's like the maximum pressure test that you can put on a pitching staff and I don't know if the games might be 7 innings. We do need to confirm that on Sunday or whatnot.
The doubleheader. But usually scheduled doubleheaders are 9. It's the ones that aren't really it's supposed to be a 3-game. I think that might be an SEC rule, but I don't know.
Y'all want to talk about our other team playing tomorrow, real quick?
I do, but I want to give a shout out to the LSU softball team center fielder Sierra Briggs with the SC top 10 catch in the outfield. I don't know where they were playing, but that outfield wall is pitiful in that field. I
think it was at Oklahoma State, maybe.
Anyway,
I'll tell you right now.
To be honest with you, that is a safety hazard and a liability. She handled it like a champ, ran through the little it looked like a little plastic fence wall, nothing to it, but made the catch. And I don't know what number she made in the SC top 10, but it did.
She was number 1.
Was number 1.
It was some complex in Clearwater, Florida.
Okay, well either way, that is pitiful. So
they did lose 2 out of. They they lost 3 out of 5. So it was a tough weekend for
Rough
softball.
start.
But.
Yeah, rough start for them.
Oh, still a good catch. All right. So LSU basketball this past weekend dropped another heartbreaker by 2 points to the South Carolina Gamecocks. I caught the end of it. I caught the free throws at the end to seal the deal and put the nail in the coffin. And LSU plays again tomorrow night, and we're getting to the final stretch. Maybe not start panicking just yet, but March Madness is next week. Not next week, like the actual tournament, but March is here next week.
Yeah, I mean, rough one to lose. For some reason, we forgot how to shoot free throws throughout this SEC series. We're shooting like 15% less than we were in non-conference, and our best players are the ones really not getting it done at the free throw line. Defense is lacking. We foul on the 3-point line, just dumb fouls all the time. Kind of the same issues. And is Pinson good? Does anybody know if Pinson's good? Like, is he going to be playing tomorrow?
He's a pretty good player. I don't know if he's going to be good to go.
I don't know either. But that's, I mean, and you've seen it. Like, Pinson's like really the key to the game. You know, he's kind of the straw that stirs the drink with the Tigers.
Yeah, and we're going to Kentucky tomorrow, 7-point underdog. I don't know. That seems like a lot of points, but if we play like we've played recently, then I don't really think we have much of a shot.
Yeah, and this is a game that we should have won. You know, we were up 6 at half, and kind of gave it away. You had a chance to win the game at the end. Darius Days had a pretty much open 3. And people are going to say that, I'm sure Will Wade didn't call that or something because it was the last play of the game, but it was the right play. Pinson, it was a pick and roll. Pinson drove to the basket, and Darius was in the corner. Darius's guy got off him, crashed down to Pinson. Pinson kicked out, and Days had, not an easy 3, but he had an open 3. Which, is the right basketball play. Even though you only needed 2 points, it's still the right basketball play. You got the open shot, and he just couldn't put it in, and that's kind of just how it's been for this team.
Yeah. I mean, we're still going to be in the tournament. Our net's good. So we're projected like probably a 7 seed right now. But, I mean, a lot's going to depend on these last couple games. We could jump up to maybe like a 5 or jump all the way down kind of like near the bubble if we really struggle.
Yeah. And we have some quality competition. I mean, you talk about Kentucky on Wednesday, and then you got Missouri at home Saturday.
Have to win that game. Yeah.
And Missouri's bad, but LSU has had trouble putting away bad teams. And then next week is a big week as well. You got at Arkansas and the final game against Alabama. Both those teams, are ranked or right outside of ranked teams. So there really is potential for us to, I mean, it doesn't look like it, but if we got our stuff together, we could go on a run and maybe hit a 4 seed if we win. If we won out, we could definitely hit a 4 seed. But even with the Kentucky loss and winning 3 out of 4, I think you could 4 seed with how you do in the SEC tournament. So.
I did see, or I did hear a stat today that Kentucky has not lost a home game this year. So to add insult to injury, I don't have high hopes for tomorrow. And I'm normally Mr. Positivity when it comes to LSU sports.
You are. You are.
So all right, I think we did good. We did good covering LSU baseball's opening weekend. The magic is in the air. It's back. We're ready to go. We are going to be here each week breaking it down. And hopefully Chris Calderera will be posting some poetry on boocrewmedia.com. Y'all got anything else, or can we get to the House Always Wins segment?
I'm ready for the House Always Wins.
Presented by the House Bar in Tigerland. And I want to go ahead and say this. So, Luffy, yes or no? Is it true that you said that then this is a direct quote, me, John, is not a fashion guy.
That is true.
Okay. Do you see this hat I have on? Is this not one of the sickest hats you've ever seen?
Oh, you already got it in.
I got it in today in the mail, express delivery from the house. I believe what is it? I don't remember the exact name of the website. Rory, can you get that for me?
The House in Tigerland
has all sorts of merch. Jeff hit us up the other day. He said, hey, guys, go on the House Bar website. He sent us a link. He said, get you some merch. He wants us to look fresh on the Out the Box show. And to be honest with you, this is one of the fresher hats that I've owned. I think I might try to become a fashion guy. They have all kinds of stuff on there. I think Rory ordered a hoodie that has yet to come in. Luffy, you ordered a sweatshirt as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's the houseintigerland.com.
Yes. And it is, and I believe it's not just their online store. They post like drink deals and events and whatnot. And you can also hit up the House Bar to rent out for your own private party. So make sure to go to thehouseintigerland.com, mainly for the merch. But if you're going somewhere where you know I'm going to be, don't wear this hat because I want to look like the flyest guy there. So, all righty. We suspended the House.
Also,
why are you laughing, Rory? Why are you laughing?
Because you better not go, and you better make sure your girlfriend doesn't go either, because you're stealing her in that hat.
So make sure to follow the House Bar in Tigerland. DJ Road Dog DJ's there. He's going to be there all spring. He was actually there Friday night. That's why he couldn't make it out to Alex Box, right?
I was there Friday night.
Go up, request your favorite song, and make sure to follow the House Bar in Tigerland on Twitter at Tigerland House and on Facebook and Instagram at House in Tigerland. All right, we suspended the House Always Wins segment last week. A lot going on. Baseball preview. We had Beloso on. This week, I am going completely rogue here. I'm taking a shot in the dark. I'm going hockey this week. The Dallas Stars are my hockey team. They are going to win tomorrow night. I looked up who they played, but I forgot in the 30 minutes that it's taken. But it doesn't matter. The Dallas Stars -1.5. Take the puck line. It's plus
puck line.
Puck line.
I love a puck line.
They're playing this says the Winnipeg Jets. So
yeah, Winnipeg Jets.
Winnipeg Jets. Dallas Stars at 6:30 tomorrow night. I'll be watching. I got it locked in. +155, -1.5 goals for the Stars. Rory?
All right. I've been dabbling in a lot of college basketball, and this is one of those that it seems like a lot, and you're gonna be like, "Wow, that's a lot," but just trust me on this. Auburn -16.5 against Ole Miss. Auburn just lost over the weekend, Saturday. They lost to Florida by 1. 7 seconds left. They didn't even get a shot off. They had the ball with 7 seconds left to win the game. They didn't get a shot off. Terrible stuff. But one thing that Auburn does, or two things that they do, they cover and they cover at home. That's what they do. They've always done that. And somebody can fact check me on this, but at home, I don't think Auburn has lost the spread all year. Bounce back game. They're going to come in, beat the piss out of Ole Miss. And -16, it's easy money. It seems like a lot of points. It's a lot of points for an SEC game, but Auburn is just on another level, coming off a loss at home. Give me Auburn -16. Lock it in.
All right. I'm going back to the golf now that we're kind of in the offseason for a lot of the other sports. I'm going back to my man, Patrick Reed. I've given him out on the show for top 20 +250. He has not been playing well. He hasn't played well in a long time, but we're taking it anyway. +250 to finish top 20, Patrick Reed.
I like it.
All right.
Bounce back.
Bounce back week for him.
we're back. We were suspended last week because we've been taking too much of the bookies' money. By the way, I tried to download a few of these sportsbook apps, and none of them would let me deposit money. I think it has something to do with my bank. I think maybe my these apps like or whatever called my bank and said, yeah, that guy's just too good at gambling. We don't want him on our site. He'll take all of our money. So if anyone
I
has,
think you have to do it.
Workarounds, please let me know.
Wait, Luffy, you said top 20, right?
Yes.
I'm getting plus 310 on Patrick Reed. So
Ooh, book.
on FanDuel.
Whoa. I don't know if we can mention that or not. All right, well, let's wrap up the show. Win segment. I see a few people in the comments joining our live show. Thank you guys so much. Shout out Dustin Michel. He's like our, what do you call it? Like our brother on Boot Crew Media. Like he handles mainly MLB baseball. He's a baseball super fan, by the way. We kind of mainly stick to college baseball, LSU. Shout out him and shout out the Masked Up podcast. They said who dat, everyone. So we did not talk a lick of Saints this podcast, but Masked Up podcast. Also, I don't know if did we mention that the LSU women's team is the number 8 team in the country in their league.
Big win this weekend.
How insane is that? Like it's crazy. Like people are going to forget, but Kim Mulkey even said it in her opening press conference. Like the goal of this year was not even close to what they're doing now. Obviously,
that's I mean, everyone who plays and like scores is either a grad student or like a senior. So I think this is a year that we have to do well. Really, whenever you look at the roster, it's like grad student, senior. So I think
it's we have a good class coming in. It's like a top 5 class coming in. I think you got 3 really good girls, and next year, so not this incoming class, but the next one, the number 1 player in the nation is a guard who is from Louisiana. I think I've talked about her before. But I think that's just how she built this team. She had to come in and kind of Brian Kelly it. Get good players now, and that's what happened.
Yep. Well, I think it's 100% due to the fact that Kim Mulkey is just getting infinitely more support than Nikki Vargas. So right. I think the LSU fans are to be applauded for making this women's basketball team what it is. So yes, that's crazy. I think that about does it for our show. Thank you guys so much for listening. Episode 98. We're just creeping towards 100.
Promise we'll be in the studio by 100.
All right, you heard it first here. I need to learn how to clip videos, but I want to get that clipped, Luffy. We need to make a note to do that. But we do need to get back in the studio. Rory has been preparing and going to football practice. He's got his pads back on for the LSU Law Barristers Bowl. So we will be updating y'all on that. Maybe do a little preview next week. We're 2 weeks out, right?
Yeah, we'll do a preview next week.
All righty. With that, shout out the Boot Crew Media Network, Blaine Lube with Keller Williams Realty, who wants you to know that Keller Williams is an equal opportunity housing partner, each office independently owned and operated. Martine over at Workbox, LLC, and the House Bar, a.k.a. the flyest merch shop in Tigerland. Make sure to check them out. And Luffy, I know what you said, and after you told me I wasn't a fashion guy, I took it to heart, and I hope you're proud of me.
2 wins tomorrow. Today.
So me wearing this hat out in public will be one of the wins. And what are the other 2?
LSU basketball and baseball.
So 3 wins tomorrow.
3 wins tomorrow.
You're going to give me credit one day, Luffy. I don't know when it's going to be, but you're going to give me credit at least one day.
No, I'll leave that to Rory.
All right.
John,
See
you
y'all
were
next-
fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, wait. James, what was